And happy holiday of love of the Hebrew Kabbalistic calendar. This is called the Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, of the full moon of the month of Leo. It is known for a few millennia in the Hebrew calendar that this is a celebration, the Holav, and it is on the day of the full moon on the month of the sun, which is the month of Leo. So of course, logically, whoever understands the vocabulary of Kabbalah, you understand that the Hebrew calendar is based of, it's a lunar solar calendar, based on the cycles of the moon and the sun together. And it is like this because one of the basic issues of Kabbalah is the power of unity, the consciousness of unity, which is uniting opposites like male and female to be one whole. And basically this is the concept of spirituality, the grounds of every spirituality, which is to unite mind, body and spirit, to unite heaven and earth, to unite male and female, to unite different aspects of life into one holistic system, because we are all one, we're all coming from the same one place. And so when we're talking about the sun, which is a symbol of the male force energy, this is the sun in Kabbalistic symbolism, SUN, the sun, which is the ruling planet of the month of Leo. We understand that in the cycle of the sun, of 365 days a year, the sun reaches its climax in the month of Leo, which is the month that is under the rulership of the sun. Now, the moon has a different cycle. The cycle of the moon is a month. The word month comes from the word moon. And its peak is every month in the full moon. When the two peaks converge, the peak of the sun once a year and the monthly peak of the moon, which happens to be during the month of Leo, you have this convergence of two forces: male energy force, which is the sun, as we said, and the moon energy force, which is the female energy force. When they are in their peak and they unite and converge, we have what we call the holiday of love. And this holiday, it looks like, if we go to the writings, this holiday is being celebrated for many millennia. So let's go to the sources to see what this month is, what this holiday is about, and what can we get out of it. So first of all, if we want to really get into it, we always know that to solve an enigma or to decipher a code, we have to go first to the stories that are spread around the Midrash or the Talmud. And we have few ideas in the Talmud why the 15th of Av, or the full moon in the month of Leo, the month of Av, is a day of holiday. For instance, the first story is that the 9th of Av, as we learn in another time, is a horrible day because the first thing that happened on that day that was horrible was that when the spies came from looking or touring the Holy Land, sent by Moses, and as they're coming back, and they speak badly about the Holy Land, and the whole nation is crying, wanting to go back to Egypt because of that, that was on the 9th day of Av. On that day, the decree came that this generation cannot see the Holy Land, cannot enter the Promised Land. They'll have to die in the desert, and they'll have to go around in the desert and wander for 40 years. And after they die, the next generation can come into the Promised Land. Very sad story, very painful. More painful is also that the Midrash is teaching us that nobody of those people died just like this. It was very clear that they died because of that thing. How? Nobody died because of pneumonia. Nobody died because of cancer, heart attacks, accidents, or something like this. People will die once a year. When the 9th of Av would come, the day that sin has been committed, when people would come to that day, they will dig. All the people that were, of course, those days, people in hell did not have any birth certificate, so whoever was close to the age of 60 dug a grave, the men only, the women were not involved in it and they were not punished, the men only. The 9th of Av, that night, they didn't go to sleep in their beds. They were digging, each one of them, a grave for himself and lie down to sleep in that grave. The ones who reached that year the age of 60 wouldn't get up in the morning. The ones who get up will cover the graves and the whole congregation of Israel could move on. It was like this for 39 years. On the 40th year, they are doing the same thing all over again. 9th of Av, before sunset, they dig a grave. They go to sleep in the grave. In the morning, they go to count the bodies. No bodies, everybody's alive. So the sages say that it looks like they thought maybe they made a mistake and maybe they didn't calculate properly the 9th day from the new moon. So the next night, they went to sleep in the graves again. Morning, everybody was alive. They went on doing it for a few more days. But when it came to be on the 5th night, which on the 6th night, it was already the 15th day of Av. They knew it's not the 9th because it was a full moon, and the full moon is always on the 15th. So they knew that the decree was over and everybody rejoiced that God is not angry anymore and there's mercy and forgiveness to whoever is there and nobody's going to die anymore and they're ready to move on to their promised home, promised land. Another story, there are many of them. This is the story about the daughters of Tzlofchad. Tzlofchad was a person that was executed because he made a big transgression. That's what the Bible is saying. It's not what was his story, but he had 5 daughters. And after the Israelites realized the laws of inheritance, the 5 daughters of Tzlofchad, he had 5, came to Moses and said, "We do not have a brother. Why is it that according to the laws that we learned till now, or when we come to the Holy Land, we are not going to get any inheritance in the Holy Land because we are not men? And more than that, what if somebody died and he has only daughters? Who is getting the land? According to what is being taught, it looks like it's going to go to his brother, a kind of a male relative of the landowner. What about women? They don't count?" Moses answers and says, "I don't know, I have to check." And he goes to the boss, he's going to check with God, and God's answer is, women have the right to the inheritance. And if the father died and no sons, the inheritance goes to the daughters. But then the heads of the tribes are coming, and the heads of the families are coming to Moses with a problem. What if the daughters inherit the land and they get married with somebody from another tribe? Moses does not know the answer. He's going to ask the boss again. God's answer is that the girls or the daughters cannot marry outside of the tribe. But not long after, they inherit the Holy Land. People, the nature of falling in love, that it's nothing to do with logic. People come to the sages, to the judges. We fell in love. We want to get married. But here we have a story that if this is a daughter of a landlord, her father died, she inherited the land, and there are no brothers, she's not allowed to marry somebody she loves if he's not part of her tribe. The sages sit on that for a while because they realize that there's no way that God would not allow people to get married because of lands. Something is wrong with it. So they go into the law and they delve into the law and they research the law and they come to the conclusion that decree was only for the first generation settling the Holy Land. The next generation is exempt. And on the 15th day of Av, the High Court of the sages of the Congregation of Israel announced that from today, women can marry, if they love them, they can marry men that are not part of their tribe, even if they are landlords of their own lands. The women. And what day was it again? The 15th day of Av. So, another nice story. And another story. In story during the time of the judges, some more than 1,300 years ago, 3,200 years ago, something like this, in which something terrible happens by the people of the tribe of Benjamin. What they did was so horrible that the other tribes get together and decide to go for a war against the tribe of Benjamin. And they also make a vow that they will never allow their daughters to marry anyone from the tribe of Benjamin. The war goes on for a long time. Most of the people of the tribe of Benjamin die in the war. A few hundred men, young men, survive. Guerrillas. And then the tribes get together again and they realize how horrible is the situation they got into. If they're going to destroy the tribe of Benjamin all the way, they're going to stay only 11 tribes and not 12. And if there are 11 tribes, they are not more the nation of Israel. And no matter what the tribe of Benjamin did, they have to forgive and they have to forget because they have to stay one. So declare peace on the tribe of Benjamin. But they still have a problem. There are no women in the tribe of Benjamin left. No children. Only few hundred men. How those men are going to survive and how the tribe is going to survive this way. They made a vow not to give their daughters to the tribe of Benjamin. And then it says in the book of Judges that they say here the holiday of God in Shiloh. Shiloh was the place that the temple was there before the temple moved to Jerusalem. For 400 and something years, the temple was in the city of Shiloh, which is a few miles north of Jerusalem of today. The heads of the nation sit together and they don't know what to do, and finally they, as we said, they decide, here comes the holiday of God, the holiday of love. And when the girls are going to go and dance in the vineyards, and the boys are supposed to go and look for a wife, we'll hold the boys at home, and the men of Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin, can come to the vineyards of Shiloh, around the temple, and choose a woman and take them home and get married. And we, the fathers, we won't interfere. You have our blessings. We didn't give you our daughters, you took them, but we won't object it. And that's how the tribe of Benjamin was saved, when on the 15th day of Av. And there's another story that the sages bring. There were two great schools during the time of some 2,000 years ago, a little bit more. One, it was a school of Shammai, and one was a school of Hillel. They were always arguing. They never agreed from the start on different issues. And here they had another argument. And the argument is a very kind of philosophical argument, but they argued for 2.5 years. And the argument was it okay, was it proper, was it worthwhile for a human being to be created? The school of Shammai, that were always very strict, the most strict, in any observers of any precept of the Bible, they said that it was not worthwhile for mankind to be created. The school of Hillel, that were always much more lenient and they're always more loving and open, they said, of course it was worthwhile for a human being to be created, and we don't have to guess why. 2.5 years arguments went on, and on the 15th day of the month of Av, they settled. And their compromise was as follows. It was a bad idea for mankind to be created, but for human beings, since you are already created, there's nothing left for you but to go deep inside, look for your wrongdoings, and fix them. Which is an amazing idea, because it is a very practical one. What can we do about, let's say we decided it was not worthwhile for mankind to be created. What are you going to do with it? We're already here. When we were created, we were not already asked if you want to be created, because we were already there. And before we were created, there was nobody to ask. But there's a much deeper issue to it. The issue is that to realize that if it was not a good idea for mankind to be created, but now, since mankind is here, and since I am as a human being, I'm here, I cannot do about it anything. I'm already here. So what's the only way to get out of that misery and suffering and pain? Is to go deep inside, find what's wrong, and fix it. Which is very practical. The question is, what will bring a person to be able to do that? To go in, find the courage to look at the mirror and to say, I'm thinking wrong, I'm doing it wrong, I have the wrong attitude, and I'm going to change it, and I'm going to make it positive. That needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of power, a lot of energy. And most people don't have the ability to do that. Most people, they reach a level sooner or later in which they are upset about life. They regret the moment they were born. They regret the moment they woke up in the morning. They won't say it because it's not nice to think like this, but they behave like this. They're not excited about life. They're not excited about themselves. And they're simply killing themselves with pain till they physically die. We know very well that the horrors of life, the pain of life, bring people down. Most people, it brings them down. Some people, rarely, when they come to the bottom of the bottom, to the pit of the pit, some of them say enough is enough. From now on, it's going to be only positive. From now on, I'm going to do my best, get the most help I can get, and it's going to be all the way up to the top. Very few people have the ability to do that. Kabbalists say that sometimes it could take 20 past lives, 20 reincarnations, till the person suffers enough and he realizes enough is enough. I'm going to fight it, and I'm going to fight it again and again and again till I'm going to find a new life. I'm going to be winning. I'm going to be successful. And I'm not stopping till the positive end, till I'm fulfilled, till I'm successful. The people who will do that, they become oracles. They become prophets of success. They write books. They give seminars. Some of them don't. But how many people do that? Most people, they succumb to the pressure. They succumb to the pressure of failure and pain, and then they simply will to die. What does it take to get a winner? What does it take for a person in the deepest sorrow, in the heart challenge and the most sour and bitter misery, to say enough is enough? I don't need that. I'm going up from now on. What does it take? It takes something very special. When we look at life, we are very upset. How do you know? You see, when people, just most of them, if you give them a hard time, they explode and they get angry. Why? Not because you made them angry. You just released and unleashed some powers that were locked inside, bubbling, simmering, whatever. People wait for the next eruption. In order to stop that, we need one magical thing. We need to learn how to forgive. How to forgive the universe and to stop being angry about the world around us. To forgive our parents, to forgive to our friends, to forgive to the strangers, to forgive, most of all, to forgive God. Because most people are angry somewhere inside. They're angry about God because they are sure that God is punishing them. And the pain comes directly from God. A little bit of Kabbalah shows how wrong is this attitude. How wrong it is to think like this. Because if God, the Almighty, is endless, He's never upset. I can never make Him upset. I can never make Him diminish His light. What I can do, I can block His light to fulfill myself. How? Stupidity, anger, depression. Nothing that God created. It's only man-made, my creation. So basically, the only way I can really connect to the powers of success is by forgiving God, forgiving the universe, forgiving other people that we think they hurt us for nothing. It doesn't matter the logic of why and so on, but to reach the top, we need to forgive. We need to let go of the past pain. We can't just sit and dwell on the pain and complain to ourselves or complain to others. To move on, winners, they know if they complain, it's like a big puncture that releases all the pressure from their wheel. Can't go anywhere like this. So, don't complain. Keep on rowing. Keep on moving forward. No matter if you're right or wrong. So that's a great place to be. Needs a lot of power. There are two ways that a human being can reach that power. One is when he's surrounded with a lot of loving people. Loving, not naive, loving. And when they see their friend falling into blame, anger, upset, guilt, they just tell him, snap out of it. You can do better than that. And they, with love and warmth and with a blanket of mercy, they'll push that person out of the pit that he put himself in to a higher level, to a higher place. Not always we have this kind of people. Many times we need help from higher authority than that. So here, if you read Rabbi Isaac Lurie, the greatest Kabbalist of the 16th century, we see what he says. He brings the stories that we said before, and look, all these stories about forgiveness, about allowing love to flow. And what is saying, it's on page 542 in the book of Pri Etz Chaim, volume 2, the fruit of the tree of life. And it says over there, about the 15th day of Av, it says in the Talmud, Tractate Ta'anit, in the end of the tractate, the daughters of Israel come out to the vineyards to dance on that day. And there he adds, Vesod HaZivugim Yoneket Bibina. The young men will go to the vineyards to choose which one they fall in love with. Because on this day there's bliss. On this day there is kind of a magic. But if you find your mate on this day, most chances it's your soulmate, and it's a good matchmaking. הזיווגים יונקת מבינה. And the Ari says, matchmaking, it's coming from Bina. Bina is a sphira, it's a energy frame, which is also called by the Kabbalists the supernal mother. Mother, because the mother loves the children more, and more merciful than the father usually. This is the level, the sphira, where we get life, family, power, sustenance. Probably also our mate is coming from there. The ability to have, if somebody has the luck to have a mate or not, and what kind, that's coming from that place. The storage of life, Bina. But this is also Sod Yom Kippur, it's also the secret of Yom Kippur. And therefore we understand why it says in the Talmud that the two most happiest holidays in the year during the time of the temple were Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the 10th day of the month of Tishrei in the Hebrew calendar, and the 15th of Av. Today, the 15th of Av is not being celebrated in synagogues for many, many years. It's not. It's being celebrated in Israel by youngsters as the holiday of love. Like Valentine's Day in the West. In Israel, it's the 15th of Av. The full moon of the month of Av. Big. It's in the summer. Big celebrations, carnivals, all kinds of excitement and concerts, all for love. But here we're talking about something else. It's not about the concert. It's not about the singing. It's Yom Kippur. It was a happy day. Happy day as Yom Kippur. What did I say, Yom Kippur? Isn't that most Jews believe that Yom Kippur is a sad day because we go to the synagogue to pray to God to forgive us, and we have to show how much do we regret and how sad we are about our bad deeds, and then we ask from God to have some compassion and let us live another year. Very few people know that Yom Kippur is a happy day. Here it says it's one of the two happiest days around the year. But if we understand what is the secret of Yom Kippur, as it says, Rabbi Isaac Lurie is saying, whoever marries a woman for the purpose of the heavens, we'll explain later on what does it mean. His sins are being forgiven. This is interesting because Yom Kippur, what is it? Yom Kippur is a day of forgiveness. It's atonement, but if you go to the Yom Kippur prayers and the consciousness is that a day we can achieve forgiveness. Now if you go deep into the meaning of that word forgiveness and atonement, it's very powerful. To forgive, to achieve forgiveness, which means, remember what we said about anger? What about people that die because they're too angry about the past, about themselves, about God, about the universe? So forgiving, cleansing that anger, there's nothing happier than that, because that is the biggest redemption we can ever achieve. So this is why Yom Kippur is such a happy holiday. Whoever connects to the Kabbalistic roots of this holiday, it's the happiest holiday. How can you connect to forgiveness if you're miserable and sad? Only when you're happy. Only when you're happy. Because the energies of God are happy. And that's why Kabbalistic Yom Kippur is a happy day. Today, why shouldn't we be happy if we just have the heavens gates open up for us, and we just get endless bliss, and we just have to remove the anger, the pain, the misery, and bliss will fill it up instead. So it's simple over here. That it means that also on the holiday of love, on the 15th of Av, we had kind of the energy that appears on Yom Kippur, which is the energy that allows us to love. What do you mean love? Love Most people don't understand. Most people think they mistake it with falling in love. It's not a mistake that it is falling in love. It should be exalted in love. Why? What do I mean falling in love? Why falling? Love should be exalted and higher than anything else. Because most people, they don't love, they fall in love. They go into a hormonal rush of egotistic thinking of self alone, not really feeling our mate. And that's why usually these carnivals of love, so-called love, usually finalizes with depression, with anger, with upset. How could you do this to me? If we come from the place, as the Kabbalists say, that two people, when they get to know each other, especially when they're young, how long does it take till you really know another person? And if you don't really know the other person, how can you really love that person? And the answer is you can't. And not just that you can't, more than that. How can you love the other person if you're not on the same frequency as the person? And the answer is given over here. Whoever marries a wife for the purpose, for the sake of heavens. Which means, if we marry because, we like the same discotheques, we like the same concerts, the same music, we like to go to the beach, this is not a reason to get married. Oh, we both love agriculture or archaeology. That's not a reason to be in love. It's who you are, not what you like. And most people have no idea who they are, because they're so busy what they don't like. They have no idea who they are and what is it that they really want. It takes a while, and sometimes it never happens. So how could two people who are not smart enough, from 20s and even early 30s, could really know who to marry? And the answer is you don't know. You don't know. You marry who you deserve. That's what the Kabbalists say. So, you want a better spouse? Work harder. But the secret of that, how can you create love? And here it says, you can create love when two people get together and they decide we have one common goal. To reconnect that origin of the universe, which is the middle point before the Big Bang, before the Tzimtzum, before the world went out from one to many, before everything was broken into little fractions, pieces of illusion, before came the illusion that we are separated. If two people decide, you know what, we are on the journey, it is much easier to walk together, supporting each other, knowing that when I fall, somebody will pick me up, and when they fall, I'll pick them up. When two people have that decision made, it's much easier. You can really do much. But when everything is yourself, you can make so many mistakes. And if you fall, who will be there to raise you up? Who is going to realize that you fell? Many times we fall, but nobody else knows that. If it's a good partner, they would know. They'll pick up. So whoever marries, not because we like each other, because we commit to the same goal, to reach that place of oneness that existed in the universe before the Tzimtzum, before the Big Bang, which is a point, a middle point of unity. Only one picture can show the universe in its origin. One middle point. One middle point. Because only the middle point can hold on itself endlessly. When two people commit to that, they'll become good partners. Then it says, all their sins are being forgiven. In this day, the holiday of love, there's a cosmic convergence, the cosmic wedding between the male energy of the universe, represented by the sun, and the female energy of the universe, represented by the moon. When they meet, they converge, and they start to support each other. And I'm never asking for the other person to be fit to my needs and my desire, because that will take a long time. Never ask the person to never hurt me, because that could take ever. Just knowing that when they fall, I'll pick them up. And when I fall, somebody else will pick me up. That's the consciousness of what is called unity. It starts with the couple and can spread into a community, into the whole world, to the whole planet. In order to be able to do that, to trust somebody else, you need to be able to forgive. Because the moment you become a spouse, the moment you find your mate, the moment you get committed to that, you can go through troubles. But not willing or ready to forgive if your spouse steps on you, on your foot, and you keep on hating and keep the grudge, you're missing a lot. You're missing most of the thing. So, what love is about? Love in Hebrew, ahava, is the same numerical value as the word echad, which means one. Both equal to 13. Why 13? 13 is 1 above 12. 12 is a number of nature. 13 is 1 above nature. That's why so many people don't feel safe with the number 13, because that's letting go of every physicality. It's total giving yourself to the light force of God. But we are willing to forgive, because we know that the moment we are close enough to another person, it's not a matter of if they're going to hurt me, it's when they're going to hurt me, because they're humans. Same thing about myself. So where do I get the power to overcome the cracks, to overcome the split, the separation that is called anger, that is called grudge? And this is what this month is about. And this is what especially this day is about, 15th of Av. The gates of heaven are open, and we can draw in forgiveness. When we have enough power of forgiveness, we're ready to love. Unconditionally, that's love. Real love. Let's make the holiday of love in the 15th of Av. And happy holiday of love to everyone. And this is the day to meditate and pray and ask the light to come in and heal us. Heal us from anger, from pain, from any negativity. And allow the new, fresh, white, that's the clothes they wear. They wore white clothes. Not red, white. Because when it's clean, like a bride under the chuppah, before getting married. When it's clean, then you can have love. And mercy is the word for this holiday. Just a little bit, giving us a taste before the big one is coming on Yom Kippur. Thank you, and enjoy the holiday. Use every moment to draw the right power, so we can really be the next coming year. All the best.